we've got you covered. This is 19 News at 5.
The man suspected of committing a triple homicide in New Lisbon makes his first court appearance. And a tough day for kids in Madison returning to school for the first time since last month's shooting. And his life was cut short in a tragic accident, but now a local legend lives on in area students. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Heather Armstrong. We brought you a story back in June about a new radio station added to Wisconsin Public Radio. The station, named after a longtime broadcaster with ties to the Cooley region. As Chandler Brindley learned, today his legacy will now assist students in Cashton on their path to higher education.
With a passion for journalism and a career which expanded through leadership roles, Gene Purcell was considered a leader in public broadcasting. Gene started his career like many at the University of Wisconsin-La Crosse as a radio DJ and reporter for the campus newspaper. Through his love for media, Gene eventually moved his way up the ladder to become the director of Wisconsin Public Media. In 2021, Gene lost his life as a result of a traffic accident. But his legacy continues on, leaving behind opportunities for generations to come.
He was a big backer of education in general. I've known Gene, I knew Gene, probably since mid-'80s. We used to go out and have some adult beverages, shoot some pool, and he always talked about Cashton.
Cashton, the place Gene was proud to call home, will now have the renowned broadcaster's name attached to it through the Gene Purcell Memorial Scholarship.
We appreciate what his family's done, what his friends at Wisconsin Public Radio have done to give back. It's a nice way. All of the endowments are perpetual. We only use the interest from them, so this will go on forever and ever in his name. So it's a nice way to have his name and remembered in the community.
The scholarship will be offered to students through the Cashton Scholarship Foundation. It is intended for those interested in continuing their education at a four-year university or a technical college.
Gene's will be kind of targeted toward anyone going into the broadcasting field. The endowments can have that choice if they want to. And Gene's family obviously would like, if somebody goes into journalism or broadcasting, that'd be great.
Gene's scholarship not only will enhance opportunity for fellow Cashton alumni, but it represents a person of whom many looked up to and continue to.
I didn't know anybody who didn't like Gene. I really didn't. He was a friend with so many people, and he treated everybody the same. Gene rose to the top because he was a great guy.
Now, if you're interested in donating to the Gene Purcell Memorial Scholarship, you can send your donation to the Cashton Scholarship Foundation with Gene Purcell Scholarship in the memo at P.O. Box 61, Cashton, Wisconsin 54619. And now we switch our attention to the forecast. Here's meteorologist Kyle Weiss with that first forecast. We saw a lot of flurries out there before.
Yeah, and a few of them still coming down. Bring us a few flakes, still not adding up to too much, and we'll see those these first couple of hours after dark as well. Not lasting too far in through the overnight hours, though. 29 degrees for our current temperature, feels like 24, though, with some pretty light winds out of the northwest at about 5 miles per hour. Visibility falling to about 9 miles, thanks to those few flakes that are flying still, and you'll see those very light readings on satellite and radar, still pressing their way further along to the southeast as time progresses. And then, what's that? A few more flurries up near Minneapolis, heading the same direction down further to the southeast. But after midnight tonight, I'm thinking those would depart, and then we'll see a few more chances, especially late into our day on Saturday. I'll have what else you can expect in your full forecast.
Thanks, Kyle. Right now, there are 5 separate wildfires raging in California. And as ABC's Alex Stone tells you, 180,000 people are expected to evacuate.
National Guard troops now patrolling the streets in Los Angeles to help enforce evacuation orders. A 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. curfew for the Eaton Fire and Palisades Fire areas to prevent looting as the city deals with catastrophic wildfires.
We're not doing this to inconvenience anybody. We're doing it to protect the structures, the houses that people have left.
The fires, which have devastated Los Angeles neighborhoods on the east and west sides of the city, have destroyed over 10,000 buildings, with those figures expected to grow.
We found out through word of mouth yesterday, confirmed from our neighbors that hiked in, that our house was gone.
The Palisades fire between Santa Monica and Malibu on the city's west side and the Eaton fire in the east near Pasadena already rank as the most destructive in Los Angeles history. They've consumed over 53 square miles and turned entire neighborhoods to ash. The winds, with gusts up to 100 miles an hour earlier this week, have died down.
Due to the favorable overnight weather conditions, we can report that the Palisades fire is now 8% contained. The Kenneth fire, forward progress has been stopped with 35% containment at 1,000 acres.
In Washington, President Biden pledging to pay for 100% of the state's immediate costs for the next 180 days.
The scope, the scale, and the erratic movements of these fires is truly unprecedented.
County and city officials here apologizing for mistaken emergency alerts that went out earlier today and yesterday as well, telling people that that was a mistake. It was not human caused, they say. But LA County has about 9 million people in it. Everybody got it. Now the warning is not to turn off the emergency alerts on cell phones here. They're saying please don't do that because they want people to get the messages. Alex Stone, ABC News, Altadena, California.
Now, LAPD said they made one arrest for suspected arson yesterday after residents in Woodland Hills detained someone who they say was attempting to light a fire. Now, they called 911. That person was arrested, but not for arson. The officer said there wasn't enough evidence, but the person was arrested for a felony probation violation. A very personal connection to those fires all the way here in Wisconsin. Michael Tiller is an assistant professor of forest ecology at UW-Stevens Point. He spent 15 years as a firefighter and engineer for CAL FIRE. He says seeing the images coming out of California have been devastating.
The amount of structure loss and fatalities are just been increasingly more common in California, and that has been quite quite hard to take for me, to see a lot of my old friends and stuff in California having to really battle some of those large fires.
Tiller says unlike the Canadian wildfires, the winds will pull the smoke from these fires out into the ocean, so we're likely to see any physical impact from the fires in Wisconsin. The man charged in the deaths of 3 people in New Lisbon was arrested yesterday and appeared in court this afternoon. A Juneau County judge set Virgil Thu's bond at $5 million. He's charged with 3 counts of first-degree intentional homicide of Elizabeth Kolba and 2 juvenile girls. They were ages 12 and 13. Police were looking for Thu for over a week after the killings, and he was located on Thursday in Elroy. Thu returns to court on February 13th. And today, students and staff of the Abundant Life Christian School returned. Classes were back in session for the first time since that shooting last month. That's when a 15-year-old opened fire, killing another student and a teacher. Yesterday, Police Chief Sean Barnes released a video message saying that detectives are still trying to determine a motive for that shooting. A resolution requesting state and also federal assistance to address the crisis of homelessness went before La Crosse City Council last night. That resolution, brought by Council member Chris Woodard, it sparked conversations across the council, some members questioning whether or not the resolution actually had teeth to it and pushed for any action. It also opened up the avenues of discussion on how homelessness is not just a La Crosse problem.
I want to make sure that the public knows that these aren't easy fixes. There's no immediate action that's going to happen tomorrow, but building a groundswell of voices to be heard together can be helpful. And that's ultimately why, as I started out in council tonight, said I need to be convinced that this is more than symbolic.
When the resolution was put to a vote, it unanimously passed. The City Council also approved a consent agenda that allowed for multiple ordinances to pass. That includes greenlighting the Grandview building to switch from commercial status to that of a mix of apartment units.
All you hear is housing, housing, housing. And we can't just build housing anywhere, anytime, at any cost. But we've got this opportunity now to take a building that's not going to disrupt, upset, or do anything except enhance that neighborhood.
The council also approved the development and sale agreement concerning the old Southside Library. Glenside Park LLC, formerly Willow Grove LLC, has been looking to buy that property. The Wisconsin Better Business Bureau has issued a scam alert for fake government compliance notices targeting businesses. There have been reports of businesses receiving letters demanding a beneficial ownership information or BOI report to be filed. Or they say you face a penalty each day that it's late. So the BOI report was established by the 2021 Corporate Transparency Act, but the January 13th deadline has been suspended in the latest ruling by the Fifth Circuit. It can only be filed voluntarily in the meantime with Financial Crimes Enforcement Network. And in this confusion on whether or not businesses have to file, scams are on the rise.
Our advice is if you receive a piece of mail or a phone call that, just seems a little bit suspicious, you want to take that step back and ensure that it's legitimate before making any type of payment or giving any information out.
Schiller says definitely report your scam to the BBB or the FBI. Well, in just a few weeks, the La Crosse Center will transform into a one-stop shop for brides-to-be. The La Crosse Wedding Expo is a chance to see what services are available for that big day. They also can help you plan the day. There are 60 vendors there. They include bakers, caterers, DJs. They'll even have live models there. Now, the coordinator says a lot of people make a weekend out of the event.
Right? Seeing the connections being made, seeing the inspirations come forward. It is a really awesome experience to then also be able to hear back from couples to be like, hey, I got my florist, or I met them at the Wedding Expo, and here's this awesome work they did.
The expo is January 19th from 10 a.m. until 2 p.m.